No, Krishna, last time I told you what is the meaning of Purna Avatar. Purna Avatar means a complete incarnation, right? From the birth, the childhood, the youth, adulthood, and then the avatar disappears from earth. So Krishna, just like Ram, Krishna also is known to be a Purna Avatar, right? So let's see about Krishna. He's a Purna Avatar. That is, he has all the qualities manifested in him fully. Krishna is actually the most loved personality, whether it is like God or a friend, like a lover, whatever it is. Compared to other avatars, Krishna is much loved, is much more adored, right, by people, especially by the Vaishnav, right? The Vaishnava, the Vaishnavites, that is the devotees of Vishnu. So it includes Krishna also, because Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu. He is the preacher of the Karma Yoga, right? We will see that in a while, his teachings on the Bhagavad Gita, right? So he's the preacher of the Karma Yoga. He is a perfect Karma Yogi himself. That is, whatever he preached, he has put all those things into practice, right? So we will see those things in details in a while. Now, who was Kansa? Okay, Kansa was the uncle of Sri Krishna. This we all know. So it was in Dwapar Yuga. Remember, we have 4 Yuga: Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So in the Dwapar Yuga, the 3rd Yuga, there was a demon-like king whose name was Kans. Either you write Kansa with N or Kamsa with M, the same, but usually the N one is more popular to write, up to you. So he was a demon, he was a king, Kansa. He was ruling the kingdom of Mathura, okay, which belonged to the Yadav clan. Krishna is from the Yadav clan. By overthrowing his father, and who was the king Ugrasen, le papa de Kansa was Ugrasen. What did Kansa do? He overpowered his father, he overthrew his father. That is, il prend son papa, il met lui dans prison. Right? Because he wanted to show he is the greatest king, right? And that he had so much power. Donc, he overthrew his own father and put his father in jail. He became very powerful, and people on earth as well as the Devas suffered because of him, because of his tyrannical rule. So the people, the Devas, or you call them the celestial beings, they prayed to Lord Vishnu, right? They prayed to Lord, and the Lord said that he is going to incarnate, to take birth in a human form, so that he can kill or bien annihilate Kans, right? Now, who were Devaki and Vasudev? As you know, they were the biological parents of Sri Krishna. So what happened? Kans was forewarned, okay, he was warned by his astrologers that his death would be caused by the 8th son, who would be born to his cousin Devaki. There's also another version that while they were traveling, he heard a heavenly voice who said that the 8th child or the 8th son of Devaki will be the cause of your death. Okay, that is, he was already warned, forewarned, okay, that the eighth son of Devaki would be the cause of his death. So to prevent that from happening, Kansa arrested Devaki and Vasudev on the day they were married itself. He arrested them, he put them in jail, in prison, and both of them, they lived there like prisoners. Now, the birth of the Lord, as you know, the Lord was born in the jail, in prison, right? So, Tuban's enfants, normalement, Devaki had 8 children. 1 to 7, all the children were killed by Kans. Once the baby was born, Kans would kill the baby. Why? Because they say that Siti and Subhana people who usually stay with him, one among them, they told him that it will say that the eighth children will kill you. Let's say if it's a conspiracy of Vishnu and any one of the 8 children might kill you, then what will happen? Don't kill in fear. He was so frustrated. He was afraid. He didn't want that to happen. He didn't want to be killed. And he killed all the children of Devaki. And when the last baby, that is Krishna, was born there, Krishna was transferred from Mathura to Gokul, okay, by crossing the Yamuna river. And who did that? Siti, the father, Vasudev, did it. It happened that like a spell happened, and magic, a spell happened, that all the prisoners, they fell asleep, and Vasudev was able to take the baby Krishna and walk in the river Yamuna, cross the river Yamuna, so that he can drop Krishna at the place of Yashoda and Nand in Gokul. And when he returned, Vasudev didn't return empty-handed. He took the baby girl of Yashoda. Yashoda gave birth to a baby girl. He took that girl and returned, so that when Kans can come, at least Krishna will survive. But all this happened, it was all the Leela, okay? Leela is the divine play, the Leela of God, the divine play of God. It had to happen in that way. And that child of Yashoda, with whom Vasudev brought from Gokul to Mathura, was none other than Durga herself, or you call her Maya, right? Maya is a form of goddess. So Vasudev transported the baby girl Durga, or Maya, back to the prison. And then when Kans came to know that a baby was born, he came, of course, to kill the baby. But when he was going to kill the baby just slipped from his hands, and then the baby girl took the great form of the goddess. And the goddess warned Kans again that your death that is the cause of your death, is being brought up somewhere else by someone else. And then she disappeared. So that baby girl, her aim of taking birth, of coming to earth, was to warn Kans. Okay, we all come for a mission on earth. We are not born just like that, Punani. We come here for a mission. We have a certain work to do. So the baby girl's, her mission was to do that, to warn Kans. So you know very well that it was a very stormy night when Vasudev was crossing the river Yamuna, and you have this serpent. Usually you see the same serpent with Vishnu. He is usually seen lying on the serpent, or even when he is standing at arms in photos, you have the serpent as his back, at his back, sorry. So the same serpent came to protect Sri Krishna from the rain, from the thunder, from the bad weather. Okay, and this is the serpent Ananta, right? Whenever Vishnu is born on earth, the serpent also comes with, right? When he came as Ram, it is said that the serpent incarnated as Lakshman. That is why Lakshman was always stick to Ram, together with Ram. Okay, so Vasudeva was finally able to cross the river Yamuna by the grace of the Lord, because in such a stormy night, where there are waves in the river, it's not a small river, a very huge one. There are waves. It was very deep, yet he could walk across and safely transfer Krishna to the other side in Gokul. Of course, it is a divine command. It is the divine play, as I told you, the word Leela, right? So as I told you, Kans, when he was about to kill the baby slipped from his hands and told the king that the one who is going to kill him was safe somewhere else and was alive. And of course, Kansa was definitely very shocked, because he had taken all his precautions, right? But the lesson to be learned here, one is we should not be wrong. We should not do wrong things in life. But yes, we do. All of us, we do. But at least we need to try to correct our mistakes, or if we have done things unconsciously, later when we realize them, we can correct them. No problem. That is one lesson to be learned. Second lesson to be learned here is to remember that death is inevitable, right? Death is inevitable. He can take all precautions needed to stop his death to happen, to stop the killer, the cause of his death. But one day, sooner or later, it will happen. So that is the very law of nature. Okay, it is called the law of nature. Whoever is born must die. Whoever is created must be destroyed. Right. I continue. So Krishna was brought up in Gokul. You know that his childhood, his youth was spent in Gokul. And Krishna was always in the company of the cow herds at Gokul. Krishna was dark-skinned. That is actually the meaning of Krishna. Krishna means the one who has a dark complexion. If you know Draupadi in Mahabharata, the lady having the 5 husbands, Draupadi's original name was Krishna, because she was dark. Okay, so here the point is Krishna means the one having a dark skin. And though he was having a dark skin, he was beautiful. He was very charming. Again, lesson to be learned, not to judge people by color, by appearance, right? So his childhood was full of pranks. he would steal butter, right? And he would eat the butter in the company of his friends, of other cowherd boys. And he became the Prince Charming for all the young girls, and as well as the gopis or the gopikas, that is the folk, women folk. Even the married lady was so attracted to him, to Krishna. When Krishna was a baby, we have Putana, who was sent to Gokul by Kans. Kans sent Putana to kill the baby Krishna. So Putana was a demoness. She disguised herself as a pious Brahmin lady. And she was telling everyone that she was blessed, that any baby who would drink her milk from her breast, her milk, will be blessed with prosperity, long life and all. So hearing that, Yashoda agreed that Putana can breastfed Krishna, baby Krishna. And when Krishna was drinking the milk of Putana, he was actually not really drinking the milk, but the blood of Putana. That is, he was slowly killing Putana. And Putana, who was disguised as the beautiful woman, beautiful lady, had come in her original form, disgusting, ugly form. And eventually, Krishna killed Putana by drinking her milk, or rather her blood, by taking her life, right? So here we see that Krishna is divine, is divinity. Krishna doesn't need, God doesn't need the help of anyone to protect himself. In India, religious people say that we need to protect our God, we need to do this and that. God doesn't need our protection. He can do everything himself. He is the great creator of this huge universe. Who are we to protect him? He can do that himself. So it shows that the story here shows that Krishna is omnipotent. He can do anything. He can protect himself, right? So there were other demons that Krishna, as a child, he killed. One, Putana, you have Saktasur, you have Bakasur, Trinavarta, Vatsasur, Ghurasur, and many others, right? So important one to learn here is the Putana episode. You should know. Good. Another one was driving away Kalya, who was the huge serpent Kalya, from the river. So the Yamuna river was being poisoned by the poison of Kalya, right? So Krishna, what he did, he danced on that Kalya's head, right? And he drove away Kalya from there. He did not kill Kalya actually. Okay, but Linfair Kalya suffer. Linfair Kalya suffer to such an extent that Kalya had to agree that he should not pollute the river. He should not poison the river, because the river's water was being used by all and everyone, by every people there, right? So every person there. So he drove away Kalya from there, right? So he was quite a child at that time. He was not even a youth, Krishna. So he was able to drive him away from there, from the Yamuna river, to protect people. That is why, if you remember, Krishna, or God, comes on earth. The primary objective of God taking incarnation is to protect people, and while doing so, he kills at times demons, right? So that is a very good example which shows that Krishna is a protector. I continue. Krishna studied like everyone else. Krishna also studied in the Gurukul, and the guru of Krishna was Sandeepani. The name of the guru was Sandeepani. So a lesson again to be learned here. Was it important for Krishna to go to Gurukul? No, it was not important. It was not necessary. Yet he went to Gurukul. He was sent to Gurukul to learn. Because when God takes incarnation, he takes avatar, he comes, he lives with common man. At times, he has to act as a common man. He can't act like a God each and every time, right? So he acts as a common man. He went to the Gurukul, he studied, he had many friends, right? And in the Gurukul as well, it's not like that he knew everything. Of course, he knew everything. He is Antaryami, he is omniscient. Omniscient means he knows everything. But he doesn't show off that he knows everything. He was humble, right? So again, lessons to be learned from him. Okay, so he had many friends in the Gurukul, irrespective of caste, class, and status. And even one of his friends was Sudama. Sudama, who was a sage, who was a Brahmin. Later, Sudama got married, had children, but Sudama was poor, right? So Krishna, for him, devotion, love, that is more important than caste, class, status, level of education, whatever it is. Like Manushya Puram, Kevat and Shabri, right? So for God, only a pure heart is enough. I continue. Now, lifting the Govardhan hill. You know, as you see in the photo, he lifted the hill to protect his people. Actually, what was happening, there was a war happening at that time between Krishna and Lord Indra. God Indra is the god of rain. He is the one who gives us rain. Usually when there's drought, like in Mauritius, Sipuna drought, you will see many people doing fire sacrifices. These fire sacrifices, they are being done for Indra, to please Indra, because he is the god of rain. He gives us rain. So it was like a fight between these two, Indra and Krishna. And Indra was pouring lots of rain, heavy rainfall on earth, at Gokul especially, not on earth generally, but at Gokul only. And Krishna, you know, there would be flood then if the people are not protected. So Krishna, one way to protect them from the rain, one way to protect the cows, not only the people, the cows, the animals from the rain, was by lifting the Govardhan Parvat, that is the Govardhan hill, on his little finger. It was like a huge umbrella covering many people under that umbrella, protecting them. Okay, so who is the one who can lift a mountain? No one, at least, apart from God, right? So he has the potentiality, he is omnipotent, he is powerful, he can do everything, he can do this stuff, right? And again, this story shows that he is the protector. He has come to help people, to protect people. I continue. Krishna and the gopis, the gopis were very fond of Krishna, whether I say gopis because they were both men and women, pas seulement les dames, right? Even the men, they were so enchanted, attracted by Krishna, and especially by the flute of Krishna. When Krishna started playing his flute, the music was so captivating that they can forget everything, whatever they are doing, and they will run towards Krishna. Okay, and they were all performing Ras Leela. Maybe you have seen in movies and all that you have gopis, you have Krishna, and they are performing Ras Leela. Usually, how Ras Leela is being done. You will have Krishna in the middle, right? Sorry for that, just to explain to you. You'll have Krishna in the middle, and you will have all the gopis around Krishna. This is how Ras Leela is being done. Krishna will dance in the middle, right? And around there will be the gopis, man or woman, whoever, right? This is quite symbolical here. Krishna is the divine, is divinity. And these people around, the gopis, the gopikas around, they are people who are born on earth. And they are looking for moksha, they are searching for moksha, for liberation. Ras Leela is usually done at night. I don't know if you have seen in movies and all, it is usually done at night. So at night, it means darkness. Darkness means ignorance, right? Krishna is divine. Krishna represents illumination. He represents light, the divine light. So in the dark, remember, dark night, in the dark, Krishna is the light who is lightening the hearts of everyone. He is blessing everyone. He is showering his love, his affection to each and everyone. This is actually the significance of Ras Leela. Okay, it's not like how movies describe Ras Leela nowadays. It's not, definitely not that, right? So here the point is Krishna would play his flute and everyone would be attracted. Not only men, I told you, men, women, even animals like that. Okay, they were so attracted by Krishna and his music, his flute. So I continue. So when Krishna grew now, he became matured boy. It was time for him to return to Mathura. Gokul was just like, till he became a youth, right? After Stalin spent his time in Mathura, he had to go to his place to work there, especially because of Kans. So it was time for him to go to Mathura, and he had to face his uncle Kans, right, to destroy Kans. And together with him, you will see here a man standing with next to Krishna. This man is Balram. Balram is the elder brother of Krishna, right? So Balram also, he accompanied Krishna to Mathura, and together they had fought, and Kansa was defeated. Kansa had to be defeated because of his atrocities he had been doing. And then after killing Kans, what happened? Krishna released his parents who were in jail, Vasudeva and Devaki. And then he released Ugrasen, as I told you, Kansit Supapasite Ugrasen. He had put his father in jail right? For him to be the great king. So he um, he released Ugrasen from jail, and then he dethroned Ugrasena as the king. He did not take the throne of the king. Krishna Panvin le roi de Mathura, right? And he installed Ugrasen again as the king of Mathura, right? Now, one of the major events already happened, that is the killing of Kans. Now Krishna headed toward the Pandav. Krishna will have his role in the Mahabharata. You know, the life of Krishna is very vast, but for this syllabus, we are sticking to major events, right? So he met the Pandav, right? And he had his contribution in the Mahabharata war, and you know also the Bhagavad Gita. So in meanwhile, the maternal cousins, that is the Pandav, the 5 sons of King Pandu, headed by Yudhishthir at the kingdom Hastinapur, they were facing lots of difficulty to get back their kingdom. They had to get back their kingdom, but they were facing difficulty. The eldest one was Yudhishthir among the 5 brothers. So Krishna, the Pandav, they loved Krishna, they prayed Krishna, they knew that Krishna was God. The Pandav were also good people. They were following Dharma. So Krishna came to protect them, to help them, right, for the Mahabharata war. And the other side, you had the 100 brothers, and the eldest one was Duryodhan. The war was between the Kaurav, 100 sons, Kaurav, and the Pandav, 5 sons, right? We are sure with soldiers and others, right? So why the war had to happen? Because Duryodhan, who was the bad one, he snatched the kingdom of the Pandav. And the Pandav, it's their right. The kingdom was their right. They fought, they decided to fight for the kingdom. Okay. Lesson to be learned here. We should not tolerate injustice. Okay. Whatever Duryodhan was doing, it was injustice. The Pandav talked to Duryodhan to return them their kingdom, or at least to give them few villages. They are going to rule there. They accepted even that. They were so humble. But Duryodhan refused. So it was injustice happening because it was the right of the Pandav. So they decided to have the war. They fought for their right. This is the message here. And say not to tolerate injustice. It is not to fight for our rights. Well, in today's world, we can't say that fighting for our rights means taking out a sword and going to kill people. It's not that way. You know, each and every yuga, things have been different, right? Nowadays, when we say we need to fight for our rights, it's like voicing out the problem, voicing out the injustice. Nowadays, we have code, etc., right? I continue. Now, the Pandavas were fairly knowledgeable of the divine nature of Krishna. They knew that Krishna was God, as I told you. And they sought help and guidance from Krishna. And Krishna intervened many times to help the Pandavas, to protect them, to protect their life, right? He also used many diplomatic skills to bring peace between Pandav and Kaurav. You know, when the war became inevitable, war had to happen, Krishna intente and sens toujours. Krishna went to meet Duryodhan, the Kaurav, to tell him to make peace. Why should we fight for a kingdom, for a palace? Let's make peace. Krishna inali explic Duryodhan, but he was reluctant. He did not want to listen to Krishna. He also insulted Krishna, right? So the point here is we should not insult because you're bad people. And you see, Duryodhan did something wrong. And he got the opportunity to correct himself. Krishna, in Delhi, this is the problem. Let's make peace. To correct himself. Nous tous dans la vie, nous passe par sa phase là. We do many mistakes. All of us, we get opportunities to correct ourselves. We need to seize that opportunity, right? To understand that opportunity.